If you have just installed 3ds Max and open it for the first time, there is a good chance the interface feels a little overwhelming. There are toolbars, panels, viewports, menus, and buttons everywhere, and it's not always obvious where to start. The good news is that you don't need to learn everything at once. We're going to focus on the parts of the interface that you will actually use every day. So let's get started and take a tour of the 3ds Max interface. We're going to learn the basics of 3ds Max interface and learn the names of the different panels and functions. We're going to start with the main menu bar at the top of the screen. In this menu, we can find many of the most commonly used tools and commands in 3ds Max. All are displayed in a cascade-style menu and really well organized into categories. There are some tools and commands that we're not going to be able to find in the main menu. To access them, we're going to use the command panel on the right side of the screen. This is the most important panel in 3ds Max, and it's divided into 6 sub-panels: Create, Modify, Hierarchy, Motion, Display, and Utilities. For architectural visualization projects, we're going to work mainly with the Create, Modify, and Display panels. At the center of the screen, we can find the viewports. By default, 3ds Max viewports are split into the 4 most common views: top, front, left, and perspective. We can resize the viewports by positioning the cursor in the intersection of any of the views and dragging it. To reset it, place the mouse cursor on the intersection and right-click, then select Reset Layout. We can maximize any active view by pressing Alt plus W in the keyboard. It is also possible to switch between the different views by pressing the Windows key plus Shift button. This command is going to highlight the next available view. We can change the viewport layout using the Viewport Layout panel on the left side of the screen and select one of the layout presets. For architectural visualization projects, I recommend the 2x1 and the 1x1 viewports. In the default 3ds Max workspace interface, we also have the Scene Explorer next to this panel. I recommend keeping this panel closed or on a different screen to have more space for your viewports. You can open the Scene Explorer using this button if you decide to keep it closed. Below the main menu, we have the main toolbar. This toolbar includes tools and dialogues for the most common tasks in 3ds Max. This is one of the toolbars that we are going to be using most of the time in our projects. It includes tools like Select and Link, Selection Filter List, Move, Rotate, Scale, or Render. Below the main toolbar, we can find a panel called the ribbon. This panel is collapsed by default. To access it, we can press the arrow button. We can see that it contains different panels. Each of these panels will display different tools depending on the objects you have selected. At the bottom of the program window, we can find the animation controls. It includes the time slider. We can also find tools like Set Key and Auto Key to create new keys for animations, and the time control for animation playback. In the lower right corner, we can find the viewport navigation control. These tools depend on the active viewport, perspective, orthographic, camera, and live viewport. Each have their own controls that are available only when they are selected. At the center of the bottom panel, we have the coordinate display. This area shows the position of the cursor or the status of transform. We can also add our own transform values in this area. We're going to learn how to use the 3ds Max navigation tools. We're going to start with panning or moving the viewport. We can select the pan view icon or press and hold the middle mouse button. This will allow us to move the view in any direction. It is also possible to lock the pan axis by pressing and holding Shift plus middle mouse button. With this, the view is going to be moved only on one axis, even if the mouse is moved in the opposite direction. To rotate our view, we can select the orbit icon or press and hold the Alt plus middle mouse button. The rotation center point is always the middle of the screen and not the location of the mouse, so this is something we need to remember. Alt, Shift plus middle mouse button is going to lock the rotation in one axis only. To zoom the view, we can use the Zoom View button or the scroll wheel in our mouse. The pointer is going to control where are we zooming. Another option is to keep press Ctrl Alt plus middle mouse button. This will allow for better control and is the one I recommend if you need precision in your zoom. We can also zoom to a selected object using the Set Keyboard button. If we don't have any object selected, we're going to zoom out to all objects in the scene. A quick tip is to use this option as a soft reset of the zoom, pan, or rotation if it's not working properly. If you're working with the split viewport, which is something that I recommend, we can maximize the viewport by pressing this button or using the Alt plus W key. This shortcut is really important. We're going to be using this all the time. Working with the mouse and keyboard shortcuts is faster, and I totally recommend getting familiarized with this workflow. It only requires remembering a few keyboard combinations. We're going to focus on controlling the viewport display in 3ds Max. This is really important and impacts how you visualize and work with your 3D scenes. In 3ds Max, perspective views are shaded by default to give a more realistic visualization of your scene, while orthographic views like top, front, and side are wireframe mode, allowing you for precise adjustments. Each viewport has a menu at the upper left corner, divided into 4 sections. The plus signs opens the general menu. Next is the point of view menu, which shows the current perspective. The third is the shading menu, where you can see the current shading mode. The last one on the far right is the per view preference menu, which controls the fundamental aspects like switching between shade and wireframe views. To switch between shade and wireframe views, you can use the per view preference menu or simply press the F3 key. Hovering over a viewport and pressing F3 toggles between these modes. It's a quick and efficient way to change views, and essential to memorize for frequent use. Another useful mode is the edge face, which displays the wireframe on top of shade surfaces. This is perfect for analyzing model topology. You can enable this from the Per View Preference menu or using the F4 key. This lets you see both the shade surface and the wireframe overlay, which is really helpful for detailed work. Now, you may notice that sometimes the lines in the wireframe or grid can appear jagged or crunchy. This problem is known as aliasing. To fix this, you can enable anti-aliasing across all viewports to smooth out these lines. Access this setting through the viewport configuration, either from the Views menu or directly from the General menu by selecting Configure Viewports. In the viewport configuration, under the Display Performance tab, you will find the anti-aliasing quality option. I recommend setting this to the highest level your hardware can handle. This enhances the viewport visual quality without significant performance drawbacks. Back in the Pure View Preference menu, there are other really interesting displays modes, like Hidden Lines, which hides lines obscured by other objects, and stylized modes like Tech, which gives a cel shade appearance. This can be useful depending on your project needs. Controlling the viewport display in 3ds Max is vital for both navigating and precise editing your 3D models. The first thing we're going to do is understand the perspective view. This is your primary workspace where you see depth, distance, and vanishing points, simulating a real-world camera lens. To activate this, simply press P on your keyboard. Now, let's look at why this matters. If you try to navigate without this mode active, specifically in user or isometric views, the rotation feels slippery and the geometry can distort as you zoom in. It feels like the camera is broken. That is why I recommend always hitting P the moment you feel your navigation becomes unresponsive or weird, as it instantly resets the camera solver to a standard lens. The next mode is the orthographic view. This removes all perspective distortion, meaning parallel lines remain parallel forever, regardless of how far they are. Press U on your keyboard to switch to this mode instantly. Now, let's look at the visual difference. In perspective, a wall looks smaller the further it is from the camera, but in orthographic view, that same wall maintains its exact pixel dimensions regardless of the distance. This flattens the image completely. I recommend using the orthographic view specifically when you need to align furniture or architectural elements precisely without the optical illusion or depth getting in the way. Now, let's manage our screen using the quad view. Press Alt plus W on your keyboard. This toggles between maximizing your current viewport and showing you the standard 4-panel layout, top, front, left, and perspective. I recommend working on quad view when you are moving objects in 3D space. You can verify the position from multiple angles simultaneously without constantly rotating your camera. And that's everything you need to keep your camera under control. By mastering just 3 shortcuts, P, U, and Alt plus W, you can switch between modes instantly, fix navigation issues in seconds, and work faster in 3ds Max. We're going to learn how to change the background and grid colors of our 3ds Max interface. We're going to start by selecting the perspective view. We can see that the background is a gradient. It is possible to change this to a solid color by selecting the Views menu, then go to Viewport, Background, and select Solid Color. We can use this option to change any of our selected views between solid and gradient backgrounds. To change the color of the background, we need to go to the Customize menu, then select the Customize User Interface. In the new window, select the Color tab. We need to make sure Viewport is enabled in the Element section. After this, scroll down and select the Viewport Background option. Then click on the color swatch to modify the color to your liking. We can use any color, but I also recommend keeping a note of the RGB colors so you can quickly get back to the default color. After you're done, click the Apply Colors Now button. It's important to notice that the Reset button is going to reset the color to the last applied color and not the original color. We can follow the same steps to change the color of the gradient by selecting the Viewport Gradient Background top or bottom options and then selecting the colors we like. We can also change the grid lines color. To do this, in the Elements section, select Grids. We have 2 options. With the first one, Set by Color, we can specify the color of the lines. And then we can use Set by Intensity to reduce or increase the intensity of the color. After we have finished with the adjustments, we can save this color scheme by clicking the Save button. Then give it a different name, for example, Dark Background. This is not necessary, but is helpful in case we need to reset the 3ds Max interface. We're going to learn how to speed up our workflow using hotkeys in 3ds Max. In 3ds Max, we can find many sets of keyboards and mouse shortcuts known as hotkeys. Almost every key on your keyboard has a function assigned to it, and you can find a list of all the hotkeys and also edit them in a window called the Hotkey Editor, which is found in the Customize menu. We're not going to see how to edit hotkeys in this tutorial, but the editor is really intuitive and easy to use. The main thing to note is that hotkeys are context sensitive. This means that the function of a hotkey can change depending on the tool or mode you are currently using. Each hotkey command has a group column, indicating that the hotkey depends on your current tool or mode. Because hotkeys are context sensitive, there's a global switch to override the sub-hotkeys. On the main toolbar, there's a button called Keyboard Shortcut Override Toggle, which is on by default. When it's on, all the keyboard shortcuts work in the specific context. If the button is off, only the main user interface hotkeys will be active, and all the other hotkeys will be disabled. If you ever find your keyboard shortcuts are not working properly, check this button. Now, we need to remember that almost every key is bound to a command. Pressing a random key without knowing its function may issue an unknown command. If this ever happens to you, you can use the undo buffer to find out what command was issued. For example, if you move an object, you can right-click on the undo or redo buttons on the main toolbar to see a history of the recent commands. This can help you to identify the command and the shortcut used. Okay, now let's take a look at some of the most common keyboard shortcuts. We can press W to use the Move tool. We can also press Q to select objects. The Rotate tool is E, and the Scale tool is R. We can also resize the Transform gizmo by pressing the equal sign to enlarge it and the hyphen or dash key to reduce the size. For viewport navigation, use the middle mouse button to pan. Hold down Shift while panning to constrain to vertical or horizontal. To orbit, use Alt plus middle mouse button. Add Shift to constrain the orbit to one axis. To zoom, use Ctrl plus Alt plus middle mouse or simply scroll the mouse wheel. The grid and the snap shortcuts are also really useful. Press G to hide or unhide the grid in the current view. You can press S to activate snaps. Enable snapping to grid points. To enable angle snap, which constrains rotation to 5-degree increments by default, press A. These are the most common keywords and mouse shortcuts for 3ds Max. Spend some time getting familiar with these hotkeys. If you found this tutorial helpful, consider supporting my work on Ko-fi/Archviz Explain. It helped me create more tutorials like this one. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to click the like and subscribe button. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. And thank you for watching.